Thanks for coming today. Donuts. Who doesn't like a donut, right? Let me ask you this. Does anybody in here besides me ever actually go into the donut shop? Not go through the drive-thru, but go into the donut shop? Anybody else? What is it about going inside the donut shop that makes you lose your mind? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Like, okay. So I go into this donut shop a few weeks ago. I quit donuts last Sunday. No more donuts. The week before that, I went into a donut shop, and a guy walks in before me, and so he's in front of me, and the woman behind the counter asks, what would you like? She's a real nice lady and smiling and everything, and the guy stands there. He's like, well, is that cinnamon? And I'm thinking, he didn't know what he wants. It's like, is that cinnamon? And she's like, oh, well, that's cinnamon and that's sugar. He's like, oh, okay. Like, it's a piece of bread. Just pick one. I'm standing there, I'm thinking, it's a donut. Just grab one. It's a donut. Just pick which one. It's too many choices. Does anybody else have this problem, or is it just me? No? Just me? Okay. All right. So I'm standing there thinking I'm going to starve to death in the donut shop because the guy won't make up his mind. And so, finally he gets whatever he wants and he goes. And then I get up there and I'm like, dang it. What did I want? I can't remember what I wanted. And there's so many to choose from, and I couldn't. So then I did the same thing, and the guy behind me was probably mad at me. So I don't know. Anyway, today I wore my Fitbit. Anybody else wear their Fitbit? Y'all get the memo? Yeah, all right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm talking about getting fit. Not just physically fit, but spiritually fit. Last week, I guess a couple weeks ago, I decided that I'm going to start this new journey. I'm tired of being overweight. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of not having any energy. I'm tired of hurting in the morning or hurting in the evening. I'm tired of all this stuff, and I just thought, you know what? It's time to make some changes. It's time to do something different. I come home, I go to work, I come home, and I sit in the chair and I watch TV, make me something to eat, and then I go to sleep. And then it's the same routine day after day after day. Anybody else? Amen. Okay. All right. Listen, you're going to have to participate today if that's okay, if you don't mind. There you go. Good. All right, cool. So I decided, it's time to make some changes. I got to do something different. And then I started thinking, I listen to sports a lot. And I didn't get to watch all the Olympics. I wanted to, but I watched a little part. Anybody see Katie Ledecky dominate in her events? And I listened to some interviews with her, and I wasn't thinking anything of it at the time, but they kept asking her all these questions, and they asking her about training, her personal lifestyle, this and that. They asked her about the Lochte, whatever his name is, lying, controversy stuff. And what really fascinated me about her was every one of her answers came back to self-focus. She answered every single question the same. And I started thinking, do these guys not get it? They keep asking her all these questions, and she's giving the same answer for every question. She said the gist of every one of her answers was, I can't control the other swimmers. I can't control how they train. All I can do is focus on myself, how I train, how I work out, how I live. I can only focus on myself and how I work. Every answer that she gave was basically the same thing. And I got to thinking, how many times do we focus on somebody else's life or what they're doing wrong or what's going on, and we don't focus on what we're doing? We get caught up in what somebody else is doing, somebody else's controversy or something else. Does anybody in here have someone that they know, you think, if they would just listen to me, their life would be perfect? Anybody else? maybe your kids, maybe your wife or husband, or I mean, like, if they would just get it, you know what I mean? Like, you just want to gently hug them around the neck, I mean, sometimes. But like, I think, like, I wonder how many times God thinks that about me throughout each day, like, if he would just listen, it wouldn't be so hard. I mean, is it just me? Like, think about it. It's our focus. How little does it take for us to get our focus to get pulled in multiple directions? Like, we have just like, what is something you've got going on in your life that, like, you got kids, like softball, baseball, football starting up, all these other things, school. I mean, you just got all these different things, and like, do we actually, like, okay, we come to church. Like, here's a question: why did you come to church today? Right, to hear me. Come on. I started asking myself the same question, like, why do I get up and go to church? Like, what is it? And like, cause like, I want to know God. Like, I want to experience God. Like, and those of you that, like, know, like, what it feels like to experience God, like, it's powerful, it's strong. And then, like, we like, something happens, and, like, we get excited and things start going good, and like either we get saved or our lives get transformed or changed or whatever. We start doing things different, and everything's good and everything's moving along, and then something happens and, like, your routine gets thrown off. Or that's how it works for me. Like, something will happen, like, I'll have a good week, everything will be going great, and then, like, my routine will change, or something will, like, happen during the week, and all of a sudden I'm not pursuing God. I'm not doing the same things, like, and then the next thing you know, like, you fall into that endless cycle of going right back to where you were. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's that, like, our focus. Like, where's our focus? I'm using my phone for my notes because my handwriting is terrible. And so if I write everything, I can't read it anyway. So, and the last time I printed notes, I set my paper back there, and when I went and grabbed it last time I was speaking, and I got up here, and I realized something had been spilt all over it, so I couldn't read it either. So I thought, well, I'll try the phone this time. I'll have my notes in here, and so. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to Katie Ledecky, and, like, they started talking about her workout program, her what she does. She talked about she works out 9 times a week. How many, I mean, 9 times a week? How many people work out 9 times a week? Yeah, I mean, right. 9 times a week. There's only 7 days in the week. Like, I didn't know it was possible to work out 9 times a week. I mean, there's only 7 days, And she talked about how much she swam, and she said, I swim about 8,000 to 9,000 meters a session, a workout. That's like 5 miles. Like I walk 5 miles, maybe. Like, swim 5 miles 9 times a week. She's got something I don't have. She said, I don't want to just go to the Olympics. I don't want to just swim in the Olympics. I want to compete, and I want to win. I want to dominate. That was her goal. She set a goal. She had a goal. How many of you have a goal? Maybe to save more money, maybe to keep from hurting somebody, maybe, we've all got goals, right? I mean, you've got some kind of goal. Show up to work on time, show up to church on time. We've all got these goals that we want to achieve. Like, she has a goal, And her focus is like in it. In it. Like, how many of you have ever started a diet or a workout? Like, me too. Like, once a week. Like, at least once a week I start. And, here I am. Like, if I told you I work out on a regular basis, would you believe me? Just to be straight up. No. Exactly. Would you believe? No. No. How many of us does our life, our spiritual life, bleed into that same thing? Like, if you said you were a Christian, people are like, what? Well, I work out all the time. What? You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going here? Like, where I'm pulling this like all together? Like, I found that my spiritual life reflects my physical life very closely. Like, I'll get going. I'll have good weeks. I'll have good months. And then, like, something will happen. I'll fall off the tracks. And, like, I don't know what happens. It's just a derailment. Like, and then it's like, it's that first workout after you haven't worked out in a while. You know, that's like the hardest step, to start a diet or start a workout after you've stopped. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's painful. Like, to start again, to go. It's like, it doesn't even sound good. But once you do it, you feel good. Like, okay, is there any runners in here? How do you feel, if you don't mind me asking, how do you feel after you run? Feels good, huh? Feel great. Like, I'll run. I know you don't believe me, but I'll run and I'll feel great. And I'll be like, yes, it feels good. I'm going to start doing this every day. And then like 2 or 3 weeks go by, I'm like, dang it, I forgot to run. Like, you know? What happens? Why are we so like out of focus? Why is it so hard to pull it together and to do it? Like, it's hard. And like, there's something that I feel like never gets taught, never gets like brought up. Like, how many of you have went through a life-changing experience? Like I'm talking about experiencing God. You experienced God and God changed your life. I know I have. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything major. It doesn't have to be like, but I experienced God and like my life changed. Something different was happening. Like, I was different. And then like this, something that I feel like we miss is when that happens, that's only the beginning. And like, a lot of people put that as like, you've arrived or you've made it. You've done it. You win. Well, that's like taking that first step into working out. That's like taking that first day in the diet. All week, I drank nothing but water. I didn't have a single Dr. Pepper. I worked for Dr. Pepper. I didn't have a single Dr. Pepper. I drank water all week. That's all I had was water. And I drank a lot of it. I actually drank what is recommended for my body weight. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but I knew that if I was going to make some changes, I had to pick at least 1 or 2 things, and I had to stick with it. So I watched what I ate. I didn't order any fast food. My diet was extremely strict this week. Now, I don't know about next week. We'll see. Because I hung out with some friends last night, and everything was going good, and then they kept... and they forced me to keep eating when I said, I need to stop. God, friends, that's something else. How many of you have friends that you know when you go to hang out with them, you're going to end up in trouble? Yeah. Man. It happens, you know. It happens. Anyway, Back to being focused, see? Out of focus. We lose focus so easy. But what is it? What is it that pulls our focus? Why can't we stay focused? When you experience God and something happens and you set out to do this life-changing experience and you want to change things for your better, how many of you have something right now, you know, if you were just to be totally honest with yourself right now, how many of you have something that you know you need to let go of? You don't have to show your hands, you don't have to say anything, but how many of you know? I mean, you can if you want. I know I've got several. I know I've got to let go of it. I've got to. There's things I know that I've got to do different. I have to in order to grow. If I want to grow with God, if I want to experience God and live with God in the way that He's called me to, I know I've got to make some changes. What is it about reading our Bible? This girl swims she does 9 workouts a week, swims 5 miles or whatever each time, and I have a hard time sometimes reading my Bible for more than 10 minutes. Anybody else? Like, man, just the day wears on and you get home and you're tired. I don't wake up in time to read in the morning. I barely have time to put clothes on. I'm sure everybody's thankful for. I barely have time to get myself together and get on the road and get to work. You know, and then when I get home, like, I'm tired. I don't feel like reading anything. And what is it? You know, like, when you experience God and it is so good and so strong and so great, but then, like, we let ourselves, just like that workout, just like that running, like, we won't stay committed to it. We won't do the things and follow the steps to keep experiencing that. But it's important. It's extremely important because it'll cost you things that you wished it didn't cost you. I'm going to tell you a story about myself, and I fought with myself to even share this. But my life changed about 8 years ago. I was an alcoholic. I was hanging out with, doing things I shouldn't do. I had a motorcycle. We lived in Dallas. And you know what takes place with motorcycle alcohol in Dallas. I had a newborn baby, had a wife, had a newborn baby. And God got a hold of me in a way, and He changed my life. Like, it just changed. And, like, it was good. Like, I experienced God, I experienced love, I experienced all those things that, like, I didn't know exist. I came to church in here, this church, and before I came to church, I said I would never, ever go into a church again because I had been offended and hurt in a church before. And if you ever go to a church, you will always get offended and you will always get hurt. Somebody, somehow, somewhere, some way. It just happens. And I said I would never go back to church. I would never set foot in a church again. Anyway, something happened, and I came. And my life changed in an instant. And everything was going really good. And then about 3 years ago, I started struggling with some stuff. And I let depression start taking over. And I didn't know what depression was. I didn't really know what depression was. And I don't know that I didn't believe in depression. Like, it's not that I didn't know what it was, so I didn't know how to relate to it. And so depression started taking over, and I had some hard times. And anybody that's ever dealt with depression knows exactly what I'm talking about. And you don't know what depression is until you experience it and you feel it, because it hurts. I mean, it hurts. And I started struggling. My spiritual life was probably at its highest, at its best, until about 3 years ago. And I don't know what happened. I quit reading. I quit pursuing God. And depression, like when things are going good, that is when Satan is out to get you. And he will. He'll come and get you. He'll come after you with everything he's got. Anyway, he got me. And depression crept in and it took over. And anyway, me and my ex-wife, wife, we decided we wanted to make a move. We needed a change. We needed to get out of East Texas, and we wanted to move somewhere and go somewhere. And so we decided that was the plan. That's what we would do. We would go somewhere. We would move somewhere different. We were tired of a lot of things that were going on. We were tired of a lot of people that were around us. We were tired of a lot of things that were happening. We were tired of our jobs. We were tired of a lot of things. Instead of really pursuing God and trying to seek God out, we just decided we would just jump ship and go. And after the decision had been made, I was at work one night, and I worked extremely early mornings, and it was probably about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was at work, and I was sitting there, I was by myself, and it was real quiet, and I think I was playing a game on my phone or something, and I heard God say very clearly, if you go, you'll lose your family. And I fought with that, because I had also been out of tune with God. I had quit reading, I had quit pursuing. I had basically just, decided I didn't need God at the time or something. I don't know what happened, but my life got off track. And I heard that, and I heard it very clearly. And then I fought with it, and then I decided it was fear of making this move. So I kind of ignored it, and I just held it in. I didn't seek, counsel. I didn't pray about it. I didn't do anything. And ultimately, it cost me my family. We moved, and not much longer after that, my family fell completely apart. I'm now divorced. I get to see my kids every other weekend. And, man, it is not the life I would have ever chosen, ever. And it stinks. I hate it. I hate it every day. But I had an experience with God again, and it's not okay because I didn't listen. I take responsibility for my family falling apart. I take responsibility for losing my wife and losing my kids. I take that responsibility because I heard from God and I didn't do what God said. I didn't do it. I chose to do my own thing. I had my own agenda in front of God's will. I had the horse in front of the carriage, if you will. I had my agenda take priority over what God wanted for me, or what God wanted for my family. And that's the thing. If we're pursuing God, we hear God, and we experience God, and we feel God. And when God tells us something, we know it, right? You know, when you're pursuing God and God speaks something to you, you know it, and it's easy. But it's when you get off track and you start following along with something else, and then God starts speaking to you, well, is it God? Is it fear? Is it this? Is it that? Is it my, what is it? And you struggle with it, and then usually you just go on and forget about it. And then you miss what God had for you. You know what I'm talking about? Has anybody else ever experienced? You heard from God, and then you didn't act, and then it cost you. It cost you. It'll cost you again, and it'll cost you again. And that's what hurts the most, is I know we hear God. I know we hear God, but due to our lack of focus and pursuing, we miss it. We miss God. So here's the thing. Make it real easy, real quick. We've got to focus. How do we focus? How do we stay focused? Set goals, small goals, big goals. In order to stay focused, we have to pursue. And in order to pursue, we have to have self-discipline. Self-discipline is the absolute key to anything you do. If it's weightlifting, if it's running, if it's a diet, if it's getting a promotion, it doesn't matter. Self-discipline. If you're looking to get promoted, you don't you dress for that promotion. You don't dress for your position. You dress for the position you want, and you train and you work as if you're working for that position. You work extra hard for this position so you can get that position. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's one step at a time, but you have to do things that you have to put steps in place in order to get there. You can't go from step one, okay, I want to be here one day, I want to achieve this, and you can't just like hop, skip, and jump over. Sorry, I had to do the hop, skip, jump. I couldn't leave out jump. Over to that spot. You can't just go from point A to point, Z. You have to take the steps to get there. And so you got to break it down. You got to figure out what it is. Okay, I asked a while ago, what is it? Everybody's got at least one thing, surely. I've got something I know. I've got something I need to let go of. I've got to let go of. Maybe it's smoking. Maybe it's drinking. Maybe it's, the list could go on and on. Maybe you're mad. Maybe you're anxious. I tell you what, somebody said something to me last week that blew my mind. And it's so simple. Stop worrying about things you cannot control. Golly. It's that easy. You know what I mean? And I thought, because I've got so many things I'm worried about, and I worry and I stress and I think, well, what if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? Well, I can't control any of it. So why am I worried about it? Focus on me. Like Katie said, I can't control how the other swimmers swim and train. I can only focus on how I train and how I work out and how I perform. Man, it's that focus. Golly, if we could just get that focus. Do you see what I'm saying? I know it sounds so simple. It's so easy if we could just focus. But it's so much harder than what it sounds. It's so much harder. It's so much harder. But we gotta take steps. Because I want to see God move in me. I want to see God move in you. I want to see God move in this church. I want to see God move in this county and in this state and throughout this nation. I want to see God move. I want to see things change. I want to see lives transformed. I want to see people happy. Man, I drive around my hometown, and the neighborhoods and the houses used to be, I remember some of the houses used to be so nice, and the yards were kept up, and the people were happy, and you drive by the same houses now, and I remember there was this one particular house, I used to love seeing it. I don't know what it was about this house, but it was so pretty, and the yard was always decorated nice and everything, and now it's all run down, and I see, that's how I see people. I feel like everybody's just kind of getting by and just making it. I've been just getting by for 3 years now and just making it. Do you know what I mean? Do you feel that? Do you ever get caught in that where I don't know about tomorrow, I'm just trying to make it through today, That used to be my answer, how you doing? Well, I'm just, trying to make it. I don't know. You know what I mean? I want to thrive. Jesus came and died to give us life. We're to live. You want to know what God's will is for your life? It's to live. It's to live and to love. It's that simple, to live. What do we got to do to live? We got to pursue. But to pursue, we've got to focus. We've got to stay focused. And it's hard. It's hard. I know it's hard. So what do you need? What's your step one? Find your step one. Everybody in here right now knows that one thing that they need to change or they need to do. Maybe it's pray more. Maybe it's read more. Maybe it's forget about the things they can't control. Maybe it is whatever your thing is. But you know what I'm talking about. You hear God telling you, it's this. You've got to quit. Or you've got to do this. I told you to do this. You've got to do it. Find that step one. How do I do that? Find that step one. Maybe it's read more. Maybe it's crack open the Bible. I've got the Bible app on my phone. Does anybody else have the Bible app? Okay, it'll read it to you. Like if you don't want to read, it'll read it to you. You can do the audio. Like I'm serious. I didn't know that was an option. And when I'm doing stuff around the house, I'll turn it on the Bluetooth, and so it'll play through my my radio, my stereo, or whatever. And so I'm doing stuff, and I've got the Bible playing, reading, or when I'm driving to work or home from work, I'll listen to that, or I'll listen to somebody else's teaching or preaching or whatever. But I've got to where I'll listen to this Bible app because and it's the same thing. You don't have to just read it to experience God or hear what God's saying. You can hear it through that too. It's okay. It's okay. And so that's my thing. That's my challenge. And I just want to encourage you. And if you need something, hit me up. Okay? I'll confess. I'm awkward. I'm weird. I'm not good at going up and talking to people. I'm not. That's something I'm struggling with. I'm single now. I got to figure out how to talk to women. I don't know how to talk to anybody, much less women. But I want to be approachable. But I've got things I've got to work on. But if you need something, I'm on Facebook. Hit me up. And if you're not sure about something, hit me up. I'll help you. I'll talk to you. I may or may not give you the answer. I may or may not tell you what you want to hear. I may or may not know what to say at all. But I'll give you something. I'll give you what I can. I'll help you. Honestly, I'll help you. That's what this is. That's what this is about. That's why we come to church. That's what this church should be. It's because you've got something that somebody else needs, and they've got something that somebody else needs. And I guarantee you this, you're going through something that someone else has already experienced, and someone else is just finding. If you could connect the dots and find who can help who, man, this place would be amazing. Because we all experience life. We may not all experience it at the same time, but we've all got something. Every one of us. Every one of us can give advice to somebody else. Every one of us could say, when God tells you to not move to Louisiana, you best not move to Louisiana. It will nearly kill you. Don't do it. I'm just playing. I don't have anything against Louisiana, mostly. Maybe. Louisiana. I said the next time I go to Florida, I'm going to make sure I avoid Louisiana completely. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. It wasn't Louisiana. I get it. I know it wasn't Louisiana. Yeah, that's good. Let's see. But we've all got something. We can all step up and help each other. We all can. And and that's my commitment to you. Yeah, I'll just stand over here and play bass most of the time. I'll stand out in the hall and I'll talk to Jeremy. I don't talk to a whole lot of other people. I'll talk to Jeremy, Todd sometimes. And that's it. But I'm not good at approaching people, but if someone approaches me, I'm fine. I don't know what it is. I just don't approach people. And when I do, it's usually awkward and they get offended and, that's it. So, but no, and sometimes you get frustrated. This morning, I was getting frustrated because we were trying to get our set list together. And we've been through this. Anytime we get frustrated and we can't get it together, it usually comes together just fine. But for whatever reason, we start worrying about things and that don't matter. Focus. What's your one? What's your one step? What's your number one? You know what it is by now, don't you? You know what you got to do. So conquer your number one before you get to number two. Don't go to number two before you conquer number one. Focus. Stay focused and keep pursuing. Stay in that pursuit because you'll experience God and things will change in your life that you didn't think were possible. My ex-wife, she probably should have left me years ago. A long time ago, she probably should have left because I was an idiot. I mean, especially when I was drinking, I was an idiot. And so, but when God changed my life, like things changed in my life that I didn't think was possible. So God can change your life. God can change your circumstance. God can change things in your life. Don't doubt it. Don't doubt it. Pursue. Pursue, and all the doubt and all the worry goes away. If you stay in that pursuit, everything else goes away. God is the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that matters. Live the life He's given. That's it. That's all I've got for you today. I'm out. So, but be encouraged. And if you need something, man, I'll help you as much as I can. I don't know if I'm worth what I've got to give is worth much, but I'll help you with what I can. Like I said, you can always hit me up on Facebook if nothing else. But anyway, I'll pray over us and we could go